Hey there, guys. Welcome to another episode of Lost in Thought today. You can tell it's snowing. Get a better view. Yep. Well, everybody here today is, on this day, it's President's Day. Between that and constant conversation about the situation with Russia and Ukraine, figure I'm going to talk about something else. Something I've thought about for a while, actually, too. Think about a lot of shit. But the subject I want to talk about today is, where plastics are concerned. Some people, when they get to this point, they're probably going, oh no. It's going to be one of those guys that's going to be, oh, don't use plastic straws. You need to use a paper straw. No, I didn't say that. See, plastic, even if we stopped making it, it's never going to go away. It's kind of like gold, aluminum, dirt. It's a man-made element. So when it was created, it was considered the perfect invention or the perfect creation because it's a man-made element that doesn't exist naturally anywhere on the scientific table or in nature. It's a completely brand new element, so it will never go away. It'll break down into smaller and smaller particles, but it will forever be in the environment. So what am I going to talk about on this, when it comes to plastic and, the fact that we keep making it and people want to argue about not using it. Well, if we don't use it and we stop making it, we're still going to have shit tons of plastic floating around the ocean, out in the middle of the woods, in the dumps, all this stuff, and it's going to be there for decades. I mean, crap, they can go to Midway Island or some of those places there in the middle of the Pacific where they have problems of all these plastics coming in from China and America. They can find plastic toys that were floating around in the ocean since, my parents were kids. So since the 50s, 60s. See, and my thought is yeah, we need to stop making plastic, but we shouldn't stop using it. What we need to do is, instead of continuously making new plastic, we've got, I don't know how many tons of plastic in the public dumps. How much plastic we've got floating around in the ocean. I mean, you all heard about the island of plastic in the middle of the ocean. It's not necessarily an island. It's just there's so much plastic caught in the middle of the ocean right there that's all bound together. It's turning into like an island. It's the size of one of the states here in the U.S. It's a very large area of just plastic floating out there. And in my eyes, why don't we just start mining it? We've created so much of it. We've got so much of it dumped out there, and we need to clean up our environment. And one thing that we've, as humans, especially when it comes to the mining industry, once we get our methods down, we're pretty damn good at stripping the earth of certain minerals and certain resources pretty quickly and fairly efficiently. And some will go, not all plastic can be recycled the same way. I get that. But instead of, necessarily having trommels to filter out the gold from the rocks and the dirt, you pretty much are going to be having people helping filter out, being the human trommels, unless they decide to get robots of some sort that can tell what kind of plastic is what and have it separated so that it can all be recycled properly and turned into new things. You know, what people don't understand is there's plastic in everything, you know, from our clothes to our electronics, to our cars, to our furniture. Our lives are about as interwoven with plastic as our electronics are these days, and the way people's cell phones are, you know, and their social media. For all of us. So, I mean, you're never going to get rid of it. And producing more, I agree, it needs to stop. It's got to stop. We've probably, by this point, for my guess, we've probably produced enough plastic at this point that's probably mounting up to about half as much, if not as much gold as we've mined out in the U.S., you know, through the mining and, you know, the history of mining. So, you know, yeah, given time, might end up in this position where they eventually finally clean up, let's say 90% of the plastic over Lord knows how long. It's probably be a few decades. And recycling it. And then taking the existing plastic that we've already got circulating in our communities when it breaks and properly recycling that. Like I said, start treating our dumps like mining grounds for plastic. Same thing with other public spaces, stuff like that. Might as well treat it like mining instead of having to go get drills or anything like that. But while people are trying to create things to dissolve plastic and break it down, stuff like that, because they've created, you know, or I don't know if they created it or they found it, but there's, I think it's a type of bacteria or fungus that they can use that eat certain types of plastic. And it's supposed to be safe. But in the meantime, we already have the technology and the facilities to be able to recycle almost all the various types of plastics out there. So it's like it's time maybe to stop funding, you know, or well, it's not necessarily funding, but doing businesses with places that continue to create it in large amounts, and start doing business with places that are recycling it into the everyday things that we use. That includes our socks and straws and underwear. Sounds funny to you, but our clothing has got plastic in it. So, I mean, like I said, plastic is never going to go away. It's a new element that humans created that, although it's not natural anywhere in our planet's, you know, natural world, I guess you could say it's not a natural creation, it's not a natural thing, but it's still a new element, which means it's never going away. It's never going to vanish. It's never going to go bye-bye. Over time, you know, it's like they found when they even test certain fish that they've pulled out of the ocean, especially in the areas where, you know, like around the areas of that plastic island I've talked about. They'll find birds and fish with plastic all up in their guts. You'll find fish that the plastic is broke down into such small particles that it's, you know, basically in the meat of the fish. So you're eating plastic. And, you know, which plastic is made of petroleum, you know, oil. I mean, I think, you know, I mean, there's plastics out there made from corn, soy, various types of sugar, stuff like that. I mean, if we're going to start producing plastics, then, you know, to continue, then that would be the method I would go, is perfecting that, the biodegradable plastics that are created from, you know, things like corn and all that, and soy. I mean, they make skateboard wheels out of soy. But, no, that's been my thought for a long time when it comes to plastics. You're never going to get rid of them. get rid of plastic at all. It's never going to happen. You burn it, it's still going to come back in forms of even smaller particles. It's still going to exist. And it just obviously has its environmental issues even more that way. So, I mean, you'd be creating kind of new jobs, new industry in a way by mining for the existing plastic that's already been created. And then you're creating more jobs by opening up more of these recycling facilities that it can be recycled into whatever form it needs to be for these other manufacturing companies, whether it's a cell phone company that's making cell phones, clothing company making clothing, tennis shoes, building houses, anything like that. They would be able to get their plastic from those facilities to create whatever products or textiles they're making. It doesn't make sense to continue making plastic. And the fact that plastic is oil-based, we would have less issues on the fuel aspect of things, when it comes to fossil fuels, because it's, like I said, it's oil. Fossil fuels make up a lot of shit we use. It would just be more fossil fuel that is capable of being utilized in other areas that it's needed, like fuel and energy production, until our alternative energy technologies actually become even more efficient. Because as I've said in other videos, today's alternative energies barely get more than a 25% efficiency rate. So it doesn't matter if you have it there in the middle of summertime, middle of winter, it's only going to produce 25% of the electricity that we would like it to be able to produce. Sorry, my dogs are having fun in the snow. So, I mean, when those efficiency ratings go up, heck, even those plastics being recycled can go right into the alternative energies, into those types of things when it comes to making, whether it's various types of solar panels, windmills, hydroelectric generators, magnetic generators, vehicles, whether it's your electric cars or flying cars. But it takes away that excessive amount of, it's not efficient anymore. We've created so much plastic that it's no longer efficient. It's become over efficient that it's damaging. Some people say over efficiency, that's a good thing. No, not in this situation. We need to become more efficient at recycling the existing stuff that we have. Especially with plastics. It's the number one thing that we need to work to really stop reproducing, start mining it from our dumps and other places that it's going to be found, and start treating that type of industry, mining for plastic, as if it's no different than mining copper or some shit like that. It's not like it's going to be the most expensive, but over time, though, because once as population grows, more people using things, more stuff being made, and that amount of plastic in the long run overall, for most part, will remain the same. So eventually it'll get to a point that, who knows, maybe we end up using all the plastic that we were able to mine out, and now we're just on a consistent circulation of using the product breaks, we recycle the product, create a new product, we sell that product, or what have you, and that cycle begins again. The way a lot of us 80s kids were taught, recycle, reduce, reuse, but in this case we're recycling and reusing, and we're basically stopping the constant production of oil-based plastics and converting towards vegetable-based plastics. So this is just a thought I've, like I said, it's just a thought I've had for some time, and whether it's a solution to our issues with plastic, in the environment or not, I don't know. But I think it could do a pretty good dent on that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to give it a like. If you want to share it, share it. Want to subscribe. Obviously, I'm not a top-notch content creator or anything like that. I just speak my thoughts. So have a good day and enjoy your President's Day, and hopefully things get better for everyone, regardless of what community you're in. Take care. Bye.